As I see it, there are two types of states. There are Weberian, institutional, bureaucratic states, and then there are nihilistic polities. So the world today is divided between countries or polities that are based on institutions and laws and regulations, the rule of law and so on and so forth, but mostly on an unelected bureaucracy, which is in charge of interpreting laws and then enforcing their own interpretation. And that includes the judiciary. I call these the Weberian countries because of Weber and his work on bureaucracy. And then, of course, there are the nihilistic polities, the nihilistic countries where institutions are frowned upon, dismantled, and replaced with totally arbitrary regimes that are based essentially on the will of a single individual, an authoritarian person, a strong man who is in charge. And this is not only in the United States. We're talking about Hungary, about Israel, about Turkey, about Serbia, about Russia. You know, I would say that the majority of countries in the world are nihilistic, not Weberian. And this gives a long-term competitive edge to countries like China and Germany, which are still largely Weberian. The problem is this: the peoples of these countries, the people in general, have endured what I see as narcissistic injuries. The elites, both on the left and on the right, the elites were condescending and contemptuous of the masses. And the people reacted to this narcissistic, repeated, consistent, recurrent narcissistic injuries. People reacted with narcissistic rage. We know this from the dynamics of pathological narcissism. And now we are in an age of rage. We have transitioned from the age of contempt or the age of injury to the age of rage. Of course, this is not all about narcissistic injuries. There's envy there. There's envy of the elites. People who are less educated, less well-connected, less integrated into the system, less part of the establishment. These people envy the elites. And this envy masquerades as victimhood and righteous indignation. I want to apply this framework to a few topics. And I want to say in general, before I start, that the liberal elites, the so-called progressive elites, the educated, the intellectuals, and so on and so forth, they completely misread the people. They completely misread the masses. And they are at a loss, and they are befuddled, and they are more and more anxious, and they're in a state of panic, in my view. And I'm offering here a kind of key based on my studies of narcissism. And I think this key may disambiguate many things. If you use this key, I think you can make sense of many of the events and happenings of today. Consider, for example, corruption. Tax dollars are perceived by the masses as money confiscated. The masses pay taxes. Actually, only the masses pay taxes. The elites do not pay taxes. The masses pay taxes, and they see nothing in return. Literally nothing in return. Infrastructure is crumbling. Services, healthcare, education are nowhere to be found, or the barriers to entry are very high. The masses pay the bulk of taxes, and they see almost nothing, while the elites, they have tax advisors and offshore tax shelters and ways to minimize or to evade taxes altogether. So the elites perceive tax dollars, the taxpayers' money, the elite perceive this money as having been confiscated by a faceless, heartless bureaucracy. This is money stolen by people who have nothing to do with the taxpayer. And so wresting it back, getting it back, extracting the tax dollars back from the bureaucracy, getting this money back from them, they, as I said, the faceless, heartless, almost monstrous bureaucracy, so getting money out of them or away from them is perceived as a positive thing. is perceived as a form of defiance and rebellion, which is closely affiliated with liberty and, to some extent, democracy. And if the only way to defund the bureaucracy is via corruption and graft by the few, then so be it. If only billionaires and politicians can take the money away from the bureaucracy, then so be it. The people are not interested, nor do they believe that they're going to get their money back. All they want to do is punish the bureaucracy, punish the elites. And one way to do that is to take away their research grants, and to take away their funding, and to take away their scholarships, and to take away their travel expenses, and to take away their salaries. And this explains why there is a very high tolerance for venality and corruption among the masses. Because, yeah, it's true, there's a group of kleptocrats and thieves who are stealing this money. Everyone understands that. Everyone sees the corruption in action. The graft is everywhere, and yet the masses don't care, because the elites are suffering, the bureaucracy is suffering, the state is suffering. Those people who have subjugated the masses, those people who have stolen from the masses, those people who have defrauded and deceived the masses, they're the ones suffering now. At the hands of the few, admittedly, these few are getting richer by the minute, but the masses don't care. They regard it as the cost of doing the business of dismantling the state. Now, take another example. Egregious and even criminal misconduct. In the eyes of the masses, this is a positive, not a negative. Convicted felons are heroes. People who have been prosecuted have also been persecuted in the eyes of the masses. Electing to office people who are essentially criminal, people who are antisocial, people who are anti-establishment, electing them to office is showing the finger to the elites and the bureaucracy. The more the elites protest, the more intellectuals fume and are infuriated, the more universities criticize, the more the well-to-do feel helpless and attacked, the better it is. The more intellectuals protest, the more the masses cheer and egg on the offenders. The offenders, the criminals, the corrupt, they are the emissaries of the masses. They are the advance army, they are the vanguard, they are the avant-garde of the new rebellion, the new revolution. Another topic, lack of credentials and expertise and experience. People with absolutely no background, no relevant background, are appointed to positions of power and responsibility, which are essentially existential. And the masses are happy with this. They cheer this on. It is a plus, because it means that these new office holders are outsiders. They're not beholden to special interests and the entrenched officialdom. They are truly members of the masses. They are part of the family. It's a clannish approach to politics. It's this polarization, you're with me or against me, or this splitting defense where if someone disagrees with you, they're all bad and you are all good. And so whoever you appoint to high office, regardless of expertise and experience and education and credentials and so on and so forth, whoever is appointed is your man, is part of your family, is your kin and kith, and is your messenger, will carry out your wishes. What are the wishes of the masses? To destroy everything, to ruin everything, to render everything dysfunctional. This machinery, this beastly contraption that has consumed the masses in the past few decades is facing its demise at the hand of the masses. The long arm of the masses are exactly these people who are totally unqualified, incompetent, and inadequate when coming to their positions they're holding. Bumbling, ignorant, incurious fools, besotted with inane conspiracy theories, religious superstitions, and other such nonsense. People who are hating on science and erudition. These people exactly are beloved by the masses because they reflect and mirror the profile of the typical electorate, the base. Typical people, average people, are as stupid, as ignorant, as incurious, as addicted to magical thinking, insane conspiracy theories, as hateful of science and erudition, the elites, universities, higher education institutions. These people reflect the masses. They emanate from the masses, and they leverage the power of the masses. They are the arrowhead that is penetrating deep into the establishment and ruining it from the inside. And their ignorance is an asset. Their stupidity is exactly the source of their empowerment. These are the requirement in the job description. These are the sine qua nons of the new elite. The new elite is everything the old elite is not. It's negative identity formation. To qualify as a member of the new elite, you need to be the exact opposite of a member of the old elite. So the old elite was educated. You should be uneducated. The old elite was knowledgeable. You should be ignorant. The old elite was curious about the world and so on. You should be incurious. The old elite was all for equity, diversity, and inclusion. You should be against. The old elite was rational. You should be irrational. The old elite disparaged and mocked and ridiculed conspiracy theories. You should uphold them and support them as the foundations and pillars of the new science. Religion, of course, is the cherry on top of this unseemly and nauseating cake. So this is the new elite. Breaking things, destruction, and sabotage are the only way to undo the labyrinth, to exit the maze, and to drain the swamp. This is the only way. This orgy of devastation and eradication and obliteration, this negation of everything, it's the only way to move the rocks and to unearth the critters lurking under these rocks, also known as the previous elites, especially intellectuals, politicians, and so on. So this is where we are going. It's a rebellion, it's a revolution of the masses against the elites. So now, this is the thesis, and I'm open for questions. Please, can you hand the microphone to this gentleman over there? And let's start the question and answer part. Thank you. No, that's what I was saying. The people don't care. They're immersed in a kind of revolutionary orgy of tearing down what they perceive to be their prison. There's a sense of liberation. No rules, no laws, no barriers to entry, no minimum requirements. There's a total anomy. Anomy prevails. This is anarchy, pretending to be freedom. And the sense of liberty, the sense of freedom is intimately linked to anomy, intimately linked to a lack of norms, a lack of rules, a lack of laws, a lack of constraints, a lack of inhibitions, a lack of limitations. Like anything goes. You're free to do anything you want. You're free to transgress. You're free to aggress. You're free to misbehave. You're free to assault. You're free to commit crimes. You're free. Finally, there's total liberty and freedom, and it sits well with the American tradition. I think the likes of Donald Trump and so on and so forth, they actually reflect the true soul of the United States. But this and the true composition of the people. By the way, I think The left-wing elites in the United States are European. They're not American. They're a foreign implant and transplant, and people rejected them because of this. But I think this phenomenon of equating liberation with totalitarianism, ironically, equating liberation with anything goes, equating liberation with it's who you know, not what you do, or who you know, not what the law says. This, I think, is a universal phenomenon. The foundation is crumbling. The walls are falling down. The institutions are dying. It started with the family and the church and so on. And now all institutions are dying, political and not. We're entering a nihilistic, anarchic age where, to some extent, might is right, but also right is might. And it's the victimhood movements where they claim rights and impose commensurate obligations on people. And so it's mayhem. It's a chaos. It's winner takes all. It is a jungle that we're entering. We're entering a period of true jungle. But throughout this period, people feel more free, more liberated, more elated, more euphoric than before, because there is also growing infantilism, and children don't like discipline. Children hate to be told what to do. Children throw temper tantrums. And we have no adults left nowadays. Everyone is a child. Adolescence has been extended to age 25. People live with their parents until they're 35 and 40. They delay marriages. All the milestones of growing up are gone. And so we are eternal. We are puera eternus. We're eternal adolescents. And exactly like adolescents, we're rebellious, we're defiant, we're contumacious, we reject authority, and we believe that a world of anarchy is much preferable to establishments, institutions, elites, rules, laws, and definitely bureaucracies. That's how I see it.